So after all the time you be spending close to your goal, it is no wonder that this little bit seems to be so hard to conquer. It is sort of like a long road trip in the car. It's the last hour that always seems like the longest part of the drive. Most times, I can quickly identify easy-to-fix behaviors that can be manipulated to get results. These are basic things that my clients know, but have just forgotten over time because they've been doing this for so long. For example, it is very easy to go to the gym for 60 minutes, but that is not the same thing as exercising with a specific goal in mind and a specific plan for 60 minutes. Other times, much more sophisticated nutritional changes can be implemented to help in your final push to optimize body composition. Sometimes, I'll employ these changes for athletes before a single race or event, but they're not something I would say is sustainable over the long term. Even with some changes that can be made and to fine-tune the last 5 pounds, you'll end up fighting your physiology at some point. You may have heard of something called the set point theory, which is a theory that describes how and why your body is typically within just a few pounds of your usual body weight. In other words, this is the body weight that you just don't seem to budge from. In this lecture, you'll learn about ideal body weight, the set point theory, and some very common habits I see all the time that make losing those last 5 pounds pretty difficult, but not impossible. Let's start with a simple question. What is your ideal body composition? Just like many topics in this field, your ideal body composition is different from that of your spouse or your best friend. Simply stop comparing, and some of your stress will immediately decrease. But I know this is tough to do. For ideal body weight, first think about the weight you were able to sustain as an adult where you felt the best you've ever felt. Chances are that this is more reasonable as a target than some former version of yourself with totally different life circumstances, stresses, and priorities. Many doctors and experts have stated publicly that there's no such thing as an ideal body weight. But I disagree. To me, your ideal body weight and body composition is when you feel your best, perform your best, and look your best. Now, this ideal weight may change over time, and it is dependent upon your goals. If your goal is to run a marathon, then clearly lower body fat levels and body weight will be advantageous to making you feel better and perform well while running. On the other hand, maybe you don't have much muscle mass right now, and this makes doing some basic things like picking up your kids or grandkids or being as active as you want to be difficult. Then for you, adding muscle mass and body weight may be ideal for you in order to feel, perform, and look your best. Calculating your ideal body weight is a good first step, although this will involve some trial and error, of course. Here's what you do. First, you'll need to get your body composition measured. This can be done by any of the measurement techniques that we've discussed. It could be a skin fold test, bioelectrical impedance analysis, or a DEXA scan. But your best bet is to look up exercise science labs at local universities or colleges, or speak with some professional staff at your health club. Just be sure to use the same method for measuring each time. And once you have your body composition measured, take your weight of muscle mass and divide it by 1 minus your goal body fat percent. This value is your ideal body weight at your selected percent body fat. For example, Let's say you weigh 195 pounds or 89 kilograms. You have 137 pounds or 62 kilograms of muscle mass and 30% body fat. The goal you've set for yourself is to lose 5% body fat. Now, take the weight of your muscle mass, or 137 pounds, and divide it by 1 minus 0.25, which is your goal percent body fat. So this becomes 137 divided by 0.75. This equals 183 pounds, or 83 kilograms. This is your new goal weight. Then, just subtract your goal weight of 183 from your current weight of 195. And you'll see that you need to lose 12 pounds, 5.5 kilograms of fat to weigh 183 pounds and have 25% body fat. Well, it may be simple to calculate, but making it a reality is obviously the tough part. Despite implementing the right steps for diet and exercise, sometimes a plateau still hits you unexpectedly. Here's where we need to talk about the set point theory. Set point also goes by names like lipostat or your homeostatic control mechanism. The set point theory states that you have a set weight where your body is most comfortable. By this definition, if you were to either gain or lose weight, your body would do all it could to pull you back to the original starting weight. For example, if you start to diet and exercise properly, it is common to lose weight rapidly at first before this rate of weight loss slows down a lot. In other words, you hit a plateau. Too many times I've seen great intentions and a great start to a new lifestyle, but in the end, despite great efforts and initial changes, body fat and weight tend to creep back up, and there's no improvement in body composition or health. Oftentimes, if you restrict your food intake enough, it just dramatically increases your hunger levels, some in cases of starvation. This response is called hyperphagia, or increased hunger. Here's the truth about most diets. Eventually, you simply return to the way you used to eat. Typically, this is because you change so many things all at once that you can't keep up. Other times, the diets are just absurd and you can't live a real life. In fact, roughly 78% of people who lose about 5% of their body weight initially eventually gain it back over 5 years. When you do eat again after severe diet restriction, here's what happens. Your fat mass comes back quickly compared to the slower development of lean muscle. You actually feel hungry until your muscle mass has fully recovered. You also slow your metabolic rate, in part due to the loss of lean mass. Does that sound good? Very hungry, rapidly putting on fat, and slowly putting on muscle after your attempt to become healthier. This doesn't sound good to me. If you put together reduced energy expenditure with increased hunger, you can see that you could end up with more fat mass and body weight after dieting. So this brings us back to the set point. Could it be that we are just ingrained with a body weight that our bodies work hard to defend? Actually, yes, this does seem to be true. Think about how your friends who can eat whatever they want without gaining any weight. You probably would say that this type of person has a fast metabolism, right? Well, you can also say they have a low set point. The same thing goes the other way too. Maybe you're someone who seems to put on weight quickly. You'd probably say this person has a slow metabolism or a high set point. So, how does a set point work? Essentially, you have a well-regulated internal control mechanism in the hypothalamus that tightly maintains your preset level of body fat and body weight. your hypothalamus responds to signals from your fat cells, your gastrointestinal tract, and your pancreas to alter your metabolism, hunger, body fat levels, and weight. Not only do these changes occur, but you also have some hormones like ghrelin, leptin, and serotonin that control your hunger and appetite. And just as you might expect, if you lose weight, there's a good chance you'll end up hungry. And if you gain weight, you may end up losing your appetite. It is important to know that with weight loss, your metabolic rate will decrease. So you require fewer calories than you used before you started losing weight. Eventually, the initial decrease in food you eat becomes the normal amount of food you require to sustain your new size. What happens here is that your body no longer sees that you're eating less.